And as I read that in the book and listening to you talk about it now, I'm reminded that in President Obama's memoir, the first of two parts, A Promised Land, he writes that remember the beer summit and the
Yes.
arrest of Harvard professor Skip Gates at his own home. And the president said at a press conference, was asked about it, and he said he thought that the Cambridge police acted stupidly. President Obama writes in his book that his white support plummeted after that and never recovered in the 2 terms he spent as president of the United States. And that just goes to show that these things, for every advance, there's always a backlash, it seems.
No, no, and we've learned that, and I do think that people are more aware of that. They've gone back, they've studied the backlash against Reconstruction, which leads to Jim Crow, and so forth. But while we're on the subject of police, okay, so talk about a kind of this endless loop of American history. Almost every single major incident, and a lot of my book, I walk you through all of these kind of decisive moments during the year, turning points that happen in different places. So many of them, in one way or another, involved police violence and police abuse of their authority in dealing with the Black community. And arguably, the first Black Panther Party. I neglected to say that actually that experiment that Stokely did with the Black Party in Alabama, their emblem was the Black Panther. That's where the Black Panther started. I mean, the Huey Newton got it from them. They were, the idea ultimately there was that they could elect a Black sheriff because they had the folks there, the Black folks there, had been the subject of such mistreatment by white police authorities. The West Coast Panthers, I mean, they had this famous 10-point program which they wrote in the fall, in October of 1966, and a lot of people know about that. But really, of the 10 points, the one that they were really focused on was police. And Huey Newton, a really interesting, sort of largely self-taught guy, had discovered that California law, he spent all his time in law libraries, that allowed at the time open carry of guns. And so, you could carry around guns as long as they were, visible. And he said, okay, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get some guns and we're just going to kind of go around Oakland and keep an eye on the police. And every time we see them interacting with Black folks on the street in a way that we think, could get out of hand, we're just going to stand across the street and just stand there and watch them, let them know that we're here and we've got our eyes on them. It wasn't a crazy idea. This had been done in Watts and other places before them. The difference was now they were carrying guns. So it's just so tragic that we have not found a way after all of these years to deal with this, because we have so many problems in terms of race in America. But the problem in terms of the police and the way that the police, and now not just white police, but even Black police, interact with Black communities is still a disgrace.